Okay, this is Jake here with Jake Shady Repairs, and thank you for watching and subscribing. I appreciate that. So this Southland walk behind trimmer was working on it for a customer, and it had, you know, apparently locked up. And I noticed something interesting though, that when I tried to crank it, it wouldn't turn, but I could keep pulling it, though it was really hard. I could keep pulling the rope out. So that that was something I've never really experienced before. Normally, I've either just the rope would just kind of hang there and go back in, and very hard to turn. So next thing here is you see just taking off, the covers here. Going to see if I can turn it by hand. And so one thing to consider that I've learned very quickly is these bolts around the motor right here, around the flywheel. You got to be really careful when you're turning that, because man, you can smash or pinch your hand in that. So, but I was able to turn that. It was still kind of hard to turn, but I thought, man, what else could be binding this thing up? So I'm taking off the cover here that covers the cutting head assembly, the shaft where it goes down and actually cuts the grass. And so I'm going to attempt to try to turn it here from the belt, which is pretty hard to do. Um, Trying to see if I can get it to move at all. Of course, I'm having a little tough time there. Actually going to get a rope that I had laying over to the side. Little rope trick here. You see it, just kind of wrap it around and pull it right off. So pretty neat. And actually, I'll just show that again there for you. But pretty neat stuff to be able to, makes it a lot easier, at least for me. And kind of seeing how it kind of routes up underneath. And now I realize that, hey, this thing actually turns pretty freely. So honestly, kind of felt like it was a little too free. Wondering if it even had compression or not. So, but nonetheless, thankful that the motor itself wasn't locked up. But here I see that I can't even turn this pulley head. So that's the part that's definitely locked up at the moment. Okay, so now the good thing is that we are definitely turning the motor. So now we're going to see if we make this thing run. So I'm going to take the air filter off. It didn't look too bad. Going to spray some carb cleaner in the breather valve here. I say breather valve, not sure if that's what it's called or not, but and we do fire a little bit. So I'm going to spray a little bit more, trying to pull it and crank it to see if I can keep it running with it, and maybe it'll clean it out. But was unable to keep it going. But the good thing is we are firing and we are running. So that's a positive part. So excited about that. Okay, gonna take this breather cover off. It's got a couple of hoses on the back of it. Gonna remove them, and then we'll be able to see the carburetor. Pretty dirty back there. And I also noticed that the fuel line's pretty rough too. I'm gonna take the fuel line off, and to my surprise, this is very almost sweet tea like looking gas. So gonna definitely get all that drained out of there. While that's draining, I'm going to take and remove the linkages off of the carburetor itself. there's a little spring too that goes on there, and it actually came off the other end. So I went ahead and put it back, mostly so I won't forget where it goes. Okay, so now I'm taking some carburetor cleaner and I'm just kind of spraying the outside just to see if it'll kind of clean up a little bit. I don't have a ton of experience yet breaking carburetors down and cleaning them. I plan on learning to do that even more. But just looking at it right off the bat, I'm kind of thinking probably just going to order a new carburetor to at least get it running. And then I can practice with this carburetor on tearing it all apart and breaking it down and cleaning it up real good and see if we can get it back to normal shape. So all right, so kind of clean the outside up a little bit. Going to take this screw out on the bottom. Of course, nothing really comes out. You'll see a little bit of gas come out of the hose a little, but trying to get this off. No, it should pop off, and then finally it does. But man, that is pretty disgusting. So I ended up just go ahead and getting another carburetor. I will probably use that old carburetor for future videos on seeing how we can clean them up. And so got a gasket I'm going to put on here and then put this new carburetor on and see if it'll run. All right, so got the governor linkages, getting them on there. It's got a little spring that also hooks up to the carburetor as well. That spring actually goes around that linkage. Pretty neat setup. And going to try to get this thing back on here and see if this will run.
Carburetor is significantly bigger on the
So where the
new
fuel line hooks up
carburetor
to the carburetor,
than the old one. And
on the new
this fuel
carburetor, it
line's
needs a
pretty
bigger
rough
fuel
anyway,
line.
so we'll just
And this fuel line
go
that was
ahead and
on the
remove this off of
this
here.
old one needs to be replaced anyway. So I'm going to take the old one off and then
Clip right here.
put the new fuel line on.
This
All right, I'm going to put the breather box back on. At least I think that's what it's called. Not sure if that's right or not. But we're going to get it put back on. See if this thing will run.
10 millimeter. Snug that up.
All right, so put some fresh gas in it and took a couple pulls, but it is running. So this is part one of this Southland walk behind trimmer. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And remember to just keep on keeping on.